Picture this, you've just arrived to a gig and everything is going wrong. Your hardware doesn't seem to even have any cue points, not to mention your USB just corrupted with half the songs not even working. I'm not a DJ expert, but I've learnt some really good tips in radio broadcasting, which have drastically helped me in DJing. And here are my top 3, and the third one is a bit opinionated, I would say, but stick around and let me know what you think. When I work in broadcasting, I have to make sure that we always have the audio that we're supposed to play. Now, if one of my audio storage locations fails, well, it's on me. I should have backups. And I think using that same sort of idea to store your own music as a DJ is so incredibly helpful. I store it in 3 different locations. I have it on my home computer, on an external hard drive, and then also on my phone. Now, you don't have to go across 3 different pieces of hardware. You could have just 2 different file locations on a computer and then a third one on a different laptop or something. Just the idea is 3 different locations across 2 different pieces of hardware. That will save you, so if something goes wrong, you've always got another place. You can use cloud-based software like Google Drive or whatever, but I don't necessarily like to use that. Also, USBs for me don't really count as a storage location, but I do take always 3 USBs wherever I go with it backed up on every single one. Because what if your first USB fails and your second USB fails? Then you've got a third one. You get a little bit paranoid by using this sort of a lot of these broadcasting ideas in DJing, but it makes you a lot more confident. So you're not just rocking up to the gig with one USB and going when it all fails. I also use this sort of technique for recording DJ sets as well. For example, my legroom set, which was recorded in this very bedroom, I used a lot of different locations to record. I used OBS, which is a screen recording software, which also does record audio. I used Rekordbox. There's a recording feature within Rekordbox, which sort of unlocks when you plug in a MIDI controller that I guess is like a key. I also used Audacity by using the microphone input of a stereo mix, and that sort of I don't really know how that exactly works, but you can sort of use it that way. You can also use your decks hooked up to a camera, but I don't really have the option to do that. I used this same idea when recording my snow set, when it was just my phone and my decks, and I was going, well, I don't just want to record in one place. I've gone this far out of Sydney out into the snowy mountains, and I used the native app that was able to be operated with the little DJ deck that plugged into my phone, because it was just my phone and my deck, and also just screen recording my phone, and that somehow worked as well. So no matter what, trying to at the very least record in different locations is really important. And the next video that I will make will talk more about that process of a micro DJ deck, how it works with your phone, how you can just use those two to pack light and record sets wherever you go. So that video is sort of coming. I'm just writing that up because I want to make sure it sort of makes a lot of sense. One of the things I learned in broadcasting was prepping for mistakes, prepping for issues before they happen. And you can do that as a DJ, but I think what's funny is that they happen less in radio, but I'm more prepared for it. But in DJing, they happen way more often, and way more people are way less prepared for it. Never stick your hands in the air and freeze when something goes wrong. Be able to sort of adapt and overcome. Some examples of what could happen as a DJ is your song not being recognized, for example. That's happened to me countless times. It could be the tempo fader just not working. I cannot speed down the song. I cannot speed up the song. The master tempo may not work. Maybe the whole hardware is dodgy and one deck is so weirdly quieter than the other. Maybe nothing works in general. What the hell do you do? Well, before I just tell you some ideas to sort of help prepare, I'm going to go through some examples and sort of tell you how to combat each one. Now, the tempo fader is a big factor for me. If that doesn't work, I have frozen before. The best thing you can do is you can make new beats and rhythms with cue points. You can just use effects to just fade out and fade in another song. And this tip is taking a leaf out of my broadcasting book. And that is, if everything fails and you have to use a microphone, or maybe there's no microphone, you do what my radio presenters do and you just talk. You just talk. Keep the crowd energy going. Dance, make some claps. Entertain. You're there to have fun, so have fun with your audience. You're there with the audience. The audience is experiencing the DJ set with you, so why not bring them in and just make fun of everything? Have a good time. And one thing I will also say is, prepare for your mistakes. Maybe you can intentionally stuff up something on another CDJ and then DJ and see if you can adapt on the run. And the best way to do that is to hire a booth space. Usually a lot of DJ stores offer them pretty cheap, an hour, 2 hour, just go in maybe with a friend and work on these things. And it may not be putting together a back-to-back set, but at least it's giving you the preparation for in the future being able to fix things on the fly. The first DJ deck I ever DJ'd on was a CDJ 900 NXS. And I'll put a photo there for you. I was so confused. It didn't have the 8 cue points that I was used to. It didn't have the same layout that I was used to. It was a CDJ as well. I'd never really used CDJs before. So I was, pretty fairly freaking out. What I did was on the fly was I did lots of looping. I think looping is such an easy way to sort of get out of situations if you can. And if not, just use the effects and fade. Effects and fade just works every time. And what I should have done with this CDJ deck is checked what it was ahead of time. Ask the organizer, ask the venue what sort of deck it is, so I can prepare and go, okay, there's this deck, play WAV and MP3s. How many kilobits per second does each MP3 file have to be for the deck to recognize? How many cue points does it have? Just prepare ahead of time and get to know the deck that you might be using. This can be a little bit overkill, and I think in general, just rock up and work with what you've got. If you have a play button, you're halfway there. Another thing to also point out with DJing at a venue is ask them if anything's going wrong. That's one of the best ways to retroactively fix some things in your head which might have to come across. Maybe the 2 different track files are playing at different speeds but matching up. That happened to me once, and I was so bewildered that it almost screwed up my entire half an hour set, and I was going, oh god. Maybe something else has got, maybe the cue point's not even working. If you can know that ahead of time, you can go, okay, I'm not going to get bewildered, and here are some ways that I can mentally get around this. And just before I continue, I think the best format to use with any deck, if you can use it, is 320 kilobits per second MP3. That usually does it for me. I have used WAV in the past, and it just takes up too much storage that I could be using for something else. So just keep that in mind. So you've dealt with making sure your audio is all good to go. You've made sure that you're able to fix any issues on the fly. But how about the music itself? Is there anything we can fix with the music itself? So my job in radio is a panel operator. Now a panel operator is sort of like a DJ, but you're doing it for their voices. I'm going to put a photo here, but you've got 16 faders, you've got microphones to operate, advertising to operate, little sound grabs that might be used in talk breaks to operate. You've got faders for where newsreaders are going to come in. You've got a fader for traffic coming in. I have to think about not just the sound quality, but the volume all the time. It's a part of my job. And going to see DJ sets and things, I've sort of picked up a few things. And that is, if you can, fix the volume of your music ahead of time. Some songs are mastered a couple of dBs less, but you can fix that up before you even get to the venue. Just use Audacity or something and just punch it up. Maybe a little section of the song is not as good as what you think. And when I mentioned sound quality, I'm not talking about how an MP3 is a compressed version of a WAV, essentially. I'm just talking about artifacts. And artifacts, it's hard for me to sort of explain, so I'm just going to play a little section here of Porter Robinson's Shelter, and the artifacts is what you're hearing when the vocals are isolated. Just give a listen to this.
I could never find the right way to tell you. Have you noticed I've been gone? 'Cause I left behind a home that you made, but I will carry it along.
I do draw the line at too many artifacts in certain music, and a lot of that music is rips and samples used in unofficial remixes that you can usually find on places like SoundCloud, and they can work really well if, as a producer, you know how to cover them up. But for the most part, I don't really touch a lot of these songs, not the unofficial remixes. I use a lot of them, but the songs where I can really hear the artifacts, because I personally feel like it can take the listener out of that sort of experience and go, oh, I can pick something sounding a little bit funny. But personally, that's my view, and I want to know what you think, because for me, it's not a big deal if not, but I prefer not to. But is it something that you draw the line at? Let me know. And now in the description, relating back to my first point about backups and USBs and everything, I've got a link in the description to a video on how to format your USBs. So when you rock up to the venue, your USBs are okay. You're not going to have to worry about them not reading properly or stuffing up or anything. And if you're unsure about where to find any music to begin with, my last video does a really good job of putting you onto 3 different methods that are set and forget to find new music, to just make really nice and easy feeds that you can check anytime you want, and you'll usually get pretty good music that you might like. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. This Saturday, November 29, I'm playing at Brain to Brain in Sydney at Shermo's Bar, which is right next to Haymarket Light Rail Station, from 9 PM, but the whole event starts from 8 PM. So come along, have a good time, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.